Tonight, in our coverage, global outrage as the U.S. sanctions the International Criminal Court, with critics calling it an attack on justice. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Elia Batul. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warned business leaders at the Canada-U.S. Economic Summit in Toronto that U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to annex Canada is a real thing. Trudeau's remarks were cut short when the microphone malfunctioned, but his message was clear. Canada must be prepared for a more challenging relationship with the U.S. Trudeau has outlined the need for both immediate and long-term strategies to counter Trump's tariff threats and ensure economic resilience. He has emphasized the importance of strengthening Canada's international free trade, maximizing existing global trade deals, and negotiating from a position of strength in critical sectors like energy and minerals. While Trump postponed his planned 25% tariffs on Canadian goods for a month, Trudeau acknowledges that tensions remain high. He has urged business leaders and provincial governments to act swiftly on reducing interprovincial trade barriers and expanding global partnerships beyond the U.S. Trudeau says Canada must be deliberate and strategic in its trade relationship to secure a prosperous future. Dozens of nations have reaffirmed their support for the International Criminal Court after U.S. President Donald Trump imposed sanctions on its staff. Major International Criminal Court member states, including the United Kingdom, Germany, and France, denounced the move. They called the court a vital pillar of international justice. Trump announced the sanctions while hosting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington. The court had issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu over alleged war crimes in Gaza. Both Israel and the U.S. condemned the warrants and refused to recognize the court's jurisdiction. The sanctions could impact the court's personnel involved in investigations, restricting their finances and travel. Experts say this may discourage victims from testifying in war crime cases. The European Commission and the United Nations have called for the sanctions to be reversed. Meanwhile, 9 nations, including South Africa and Malaysia, have launched the Hague Group to defend the court's authority. Trump's move follows his controversial proposal to take over Gaza and resettle its Palestinian population. The idea is widely condemned by Arab leaders and the United Nations. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has dismissed speculation about renewed diplomatic talks with Washington. Khamenei insists that negotiations with the U.S. are neither wise nor rational and will not solve Iran's problems. Addressing military personnel in Tehran on Friday, Khamenei reinforced his long-standing distrust of the U.S., citing past failures. These include the 2018 U.S. withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal under Donald Trump. Khamenei has warned against repeating past mistakes. He says Iran had already made significant concessions during years of negotiations, only for the agreement to be violated and scrapped. While Iran's reformist president Masoud Pezeshkian has signaled interest in talks to ease economic sanctions, hardline lawmakers remain firmly opposed. Amid heightened regional tensions, Khamenei has also threatened retaliation if the U.S. undermines Iran's security. Khamenei says, if they threaten us, we will threaten them in return. Diplomatic ties between Iran and the U.S. remain frozen as speculations grow over potential talks. However, Khamenei's latest remarks signal a continued hardline stance from Tehran. Hamas has named 3 Israeli captives set for release on Saturday in exchange for 183 Palestinian prisoners. The news comes after a tense delay over ceasefire violations. Israeli captives Ohad Ben Ami and Eli Sharabi and Or Levy will be handed over. In return, Israel is expected to free 183 Palestinian detainees. Out of these, 18 are serving life sentences, 54 with long sentences, and 111 were arrested in Gaza during the war. The war in Gaza has left over 61,709 dead. More than 111,000 have been injured. The International Court of Justice has granted the Arab League permission to participate in advisory proceedings on Israel's legal obligations in the occupied Palestinian territory. Judge Julia Sumbatind, acting as president, has ruled today that the League's input could provide valuable insights on the legal questions submitted by the United Nations General Assembly. The Arab League has until February 28th to submit a written statement under the court's procedural order. The case seeks an advisory opinion on Israel's responsibilities under international law, including the role of the United Nations, international organization, and third-party states in the region. It comes amid heightened legal and diplomatic scrutiny over Israel's governance of the occupied territories. The decision follows previous court rulings linked to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. A Colombian man extradited from Canada has been arraigned on human smuggling charges after a pregnant woman drowned attempting to cross the U.S.-Canada border. Federal prosecutors say 36-year-old Jader Augusto Uribe Tobar charged Ana Vasquez Flores $2,500 to smuggle her into the U.S. He instructed the 33-year-old woman to wade through the freezing Great Chazy River in December 2023. Her body was found 2 days later. Uribe Tobar has pleaded not guilty. He remains in custody, facing a minimum of 3 years to life in prison if convicted. U.S. Attorney Carla Friedman says the case underscores the deadly risks of human smuggling. Vasquez Flores' death comes amid a surge in illegal crossings from Canada into New York and New England. U.S. Border Patrol reports over 19,000 arrests last year. The figure matches totals from the past 17 years combined. A new Statistics Canada report has revealed that 1 in 5 recent immigrants in Canada lived in deep poverty in 2022, struggling to afford even basic necessities. The report defines deep poverty as having an income below 75% of the basic cost of living. It highlights immigrants, people with disabilities, single-parent families, and individuals living alone as the most affected groups. Jeanette Madoum, Executive Director of the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Centre in Ontario, calls poverty among immigrants a systemic failure, not a personal one. The highest provincial poverty rates were recorded in Nova Scotia at 12.55%, with the lowest in Manitoba at 6.9%. Experts stress that systemic barriers, including racism and foreign credential recognition issues, exacerbate poverty among immigrants. Josh Smee, CEO of Food First Newfoundland and Labrador, says single working-age adults often fall through the cracks in government aid programs. Advocates say urgent policy changes are needed to address Canada's growing poverty crisis, particularly among vulnerable communities. And now, as we head towards the blessed month of Ramadan 2025, we are introducing a new segment to keep you updated on the events happening in your city, called Ramadan Events Save the State. The Muslim Womenpreneurs Network is presenting Ramadan Expo 2025 with a difference. This year, the expo shines a spotlight on the enduring beauty and spirit of Palestinian culture, a beacon of resilience and hope in challenging times. The first event will be held in Montreal on Saturday and Sunday, February 8th and 9th. The second event will be held in Mississauga on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, February 15th to 17th. Come and discover premium kufiyas, hand-painted ceramics, and stunning traditional thobes. Watch an exclusive performance of Dabki artists, explore a vibrant bazaar with over 300 vendors, international halal food court, kids activities, VR space, and business workshops. Visit ramadanexpo.co for tickets and details. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News Canada. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV.